Morning, everybody. How we doing? Sam here, United People's TV. What day is it? Wednesday, the 5th of June. I'm going to have no idea what day it is going on in the next few months. We've got the Euros starting in 9 days. We're still waiting on Erik ten Hag. Will he be sacked today? I mean, will he? I've not seen that said anywhere. Anywhere reputable whatsoever. We'll speak about that a little bit later in the show. We'll speak about INEOS. We'll speak about Ratcliffe Shaw. The start of this show, I'm going to go load the gun up. I'm going to go double barrel on City. Because, man, some big news yesterday. City are trying to sue the Premier League for damages. Tyranny of the majority. Has to be one of the most hilarious... That's basically democracy, you know, the majority. Anyway, tyranny of the majority is one of the funniest phrases I've ever heard in my entire life, and that's what City are trying to use as their defence. Anyway, I'm going to run through some of it because I don't think, well, maybe you do actually, but if you don't realise how important this case is for football, for the Premier League, for Manchester United, then you need to, because it is going to be a madness if City manage to win. I'm gonna explain it to you, Jackass. I'll explain it when we get through to it. Then we'll speak about Olise. We'll speak about Sesko. We'll speak about Amrabat. Speak about Casemiro. Speak about INEOS. As I said, as always, it's a busy show. There are a ton of talking points, and I'm going to try and cover all of them. Good morning to everyone in the comments. Have a look. And good morning to you, Sigmund and Carl as well. Vicky, you're there. Daisy, how you doing, Daisy? I haven't seen you in a few days. Well, yeah, maybe in a couple of weeks. Don't know. See, I do recognise some. I do recognise faces. Josh, I can see you there as well. And T, I'm sure I saw you sneaking there at the start of the show. Who's here down there from the member gang? So have a look. The member gang, it's not a gang anymore. It's not an army anymore. I don't know what it is. Mega army. Should have thought of something there. Oh, well. Stephanie, good morning to you. Nima, Kenny, Gamindir. We've got Alfie, Kevin, William, Imole, Joe, Koala Orange. That's top tier name, that is. Top tier name. Top tier. Mo, how you doing, man? And Paul Pritchard. Good morning to all of you. Legion. Ooh, I like that. No, isn't Legion part of an army? Or is a Legion like a big old army? Is that like what the Roman Legion? Is that like a... I don't know. Anyone who ever used to play, what was it called? Total War. I used to love that. That was a great game. I miss playing games. I used to play games all the time. Don't have any time anymore. So too busy doing United content. That's all right. Ashley, good morning to you on Facebook. Stephen Lawrence, Nick Jones, Frederick, and Danny. Good morning to all of you. Right then. This, I mean, it makes you sort of, it makes you scratch your head. It doesn't make you scratch your head that City have the audacity, because we all know what's happening in November, right? So in November, the Premier League and Man City's case is coming to a head. It's expected to take around about 6 weeks. We don't know whether that's going to be sort of delayed and pushed further away, which may or may not happen. That's what City are going to try and do, delay it like they did last time. Of course, the accusations aren't time barred anymore. Now, what that means is last time City delayed it so much I think it was with UEFA, that the original charges that they were accused of couldn't be used in the case, so therefore they got away with it. That can't happen here. But as Kelt Sean left a really good comment there saying City's best defence is attack, and that's exactly what's gone on here, right? And this sort of explains what it is, right? All of this is around the associated party transactions. And that rule in the Premier League that was brought in 2021 to make sure that whatever these transactions are, they're fair market value. Now, that means, for example, Man City are sponsored by Etihad. Etihad have direct links into Abu Dhabi. And you can just draw like 2 links of connections and you go, well, there's Sheikh Mansour and then... But you can directly link the companies. And the accusations from the Premier League are that City inflated these numbers to inflate their revenues. Mate, City had more revenue than Real Madrid the other year. Do you know how crap you are at plagiarism at school? If you take that essay, you just rub the name out at the top and you give it to your teacher. What do you mean I got caught Plagiarism. I never did it. Anyway, that's what City have done here. And they've been caught. And instead of arguing their innocence, saying, no, we didn't breach these rules, they're arguing that these rules are use of what the words here. Within a 165-page legal document, City argue that they are the victims of discrimination. Yeah, I'm not joking here. Describing rules they say have been approved by their rivals to stifle their success on the pitch as a tyranny of the majority. And honestly, inside this whole piece, there's no point reading it all. There's no way I'm reading that 165-page document. City are arguing that they're fighting against the football elite. Like they're representing the little man. You've just won 6 out of the last 7. Are you that far removed? Or no, it's not really that that far removed. This really is the only angle that they can go for. As Sean said earlier, like all-out attack. And it gets madder the more you read of it, right? City are suing the Premier League for damages whilst arguing that the league's democratic system gives the majority unacceptable levels of control. They accuse rival clubs of discrimination against golf ownership, citing the comments of one particular senior executive. And I've done here, right? City. I'm laughing. I'm laughing here because it's so far-fetched, this defence that they've got. City argue that sponsors linked to club owners should be allowed to determine how much they want to pay, regardless of independent valuation. So they're basically saying, right, we're sponsored by so Man City sponsors on the shirt and the stadium, Etihad Airways. They've decided that they want to pay us £3.5 billion a year, which is very generous of them. Which is very generous of them. And City are arguing that no independent valuer can say, hold on, 3.5 bill. That's not a reflection of the value of it. No, sod that. City have said, no, we're richer than everybody else. How dare you stop us spending our money? But it is hilarious. And you know how you want to see how hilarious it gets. It gets crazier. Just read this. Oh man, City and you know what? I don't know whether it would have ever come to that point if a Qatari takeover happened at Manchester United, but this is a massive, 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 massive reason why I was happy that INEOS took over and why I never wanted to go down that road of being owned by a Gulf state. Oh no, it's a private investor. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia don't own Newcastle. That's owned by the Public Investment Fund. Apart from the fact that the chairman of the Public Investment Fund is Mohammed bin Salman, and the ruler of Saudi Arabia is Mohammed bin Salman. But City here are just like drinking the Kool-Aid. Just read this. Man City are about to take down the entire Premier League cartel. We have just declared war on the entire football elite. This legal battle will decide the future of football. Either it will be monopolised by the big traditional clubs, or their monopoly will be crushed and subject to fair competition from other clubs. It's just like, mate. I honestly think that they believe it. And I kind of honestly think they have to believe it now as City fans. Because they've tasted the rain, but they've won 6 out of the last 7. They are the dominant force. But Steve, honestly, I think I'm at that point down there. I don't know whether it's a laugh or cry. I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that they are the elite. They are the problem. These rules are geared towards helping the majority, not you. And that's why you're pissed at them. And by the way, this is a massive, massive, in my opinion, indicator of guilt. right? City want these rules abolished. If you hadn't broken the rules, why would you want them abolished? So this next 2 weeks is going to be massive for football in general, not just for Man United, not just the Premier League. I'm talking about everything. See, Ravi, you're saying the lack of self-awareness is, or just pure naive. I don't think it's a lack of awareness. I'm thinking this really is the only direction that they feel they can go down. They've got the most expensive lawyers in the world, and they've been working on it for months. And this was the argument that they wanted to go down? I mean, they are guilty as sin. Of course, there is, you know how it works in power, in capitalism, in not just football, but just in business. If you've got enough money and you've got enough control and you've got enough power and you're big enough, sometimes you really can just break the rules. And instead of getting punished for that, you can then get those rules that you broke abolished. So you never broke anything. And that's what City are trying to do. And if they win, the Premier League itself, because the Premier League is a brand, right? The Premier League is just... Premier League's been snapped. They're not in control. That's just an illusion. City will be in control because they've proven that they can break any rules that you set in front of them. And if you try and pull them up on it, they'll just get those rules thrown out. And then who's in control? And I've seen somebody mention in the comments there, and it's funny that you did that because I've got these two things up here. You know what this all sounds like? It really, really sounds like Trump. Really. Like, we've seen everything that's happening. Well, maybe you haven't. The Stormy Daniels case. Got found guilty. The first ever former president, to be convicted of felony crimes. Guilty on all, I think, 34 counts. In the court, all done in front of the jury. Don't know how long the process was. All the evidence was presented. And the judicial system decided guilty. And instead of accepting that, Trump comes out. I'm a very innocent. I can't do a Trump. I wish I could do a Trump impression. I should be able to. I can't. I was thinking about doing it there. But anyway, comes out. I'm a very innocent man. I mean, you're not. You've just been found guilty. But that's what these sort of extreme narcissists do, and I think that's probably what City are. Mate, and you're writing down there about Trump being allowed to run for president. I was looking up on this. There's only 3 rules as to that you have, like, eligibility requirements to run for presidency in America. You have to be over the age. Was it over the age of 35? You have to be American, and you had to have lived in America for like the last 14 years. I think it's something really, really small as that. It's crazy. But this here, and by the way, this is going to be quite a quick resolution. So there's people saying that, oh, this is typical City, going to be dragging and delaying it out. I believe this case starts on Monday, and it only lasts 2 weeks, and it's going to arbitration. So they're going to look at evidence on both sides and then make their decision. If City win this, then the 115 charges case, that's going to disappear because, well, it won't disappear, but City will win that because a lot of these claims here about associated party transactions are the core of the 115 charges. So if City successfully get this thrown out, I very much doubt the Premier League will be able to make that case stick. So it's huge. City's arrogance will be their downfall. I honestly still think I hate Chelsea more than I hate City. Just because they were first to it. Russian oligarch coming into the country, didn't care about profit, didn't care about anything. Basically got all his money from assets that were sold off by Russia, dead cheap, came over here, man, let's just spend it all. And Chelsea won everything. And then people realised you could do that in the Premier League. And then City quickly followed. But if City just have to get booted out by the Premier League, they have to get relegated. That's the only I mean, you can say, oh, strip them of their titles. That won't really... I know it will change something in the records. It won't change anything for me. I still remember 2012. That damn Aguero moment. It being crossed off there and given to Man United won't change much for me. Oh, great. What? We're on 21 now. Yeah, brilliant. So, I know you should do it, but that won't really change much to me. It's just, they need to get the Rangers treatment. Rangers had to go start again at the bottom of Scottish football. And I guarantee you, City's owners, I don't think they'll last until they come back up to the Premier League. I'm going to read some of your comments out down here. Glyn, you're saying this will break the Premier League. If City win, I think it will break the Premier League. It will show that the Premier League is not in control. Shax, you gifted 5 memberships earlier, dude. Thank you very much. I'm going to update these, I think, later. Fergie, what do you reckon?
I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell.
I'm going to update these. I might actually get little tiny videos going in the corner there. Alex, you're saying maybe the Premier League should suspend City from the league while that battle ensues. I mean, nah, there's no way you could legally do that. No chance. Rex, you're saying, are CFG not bound by accounting rules generally? There are rules on recording revenue at market value and related party transactions. Dude, have you not, like, the City Football Group, just despite the fact that Man City have posted record revenues, like, to the levels of Real Madrid and higher, I think City Football Group had a massive loss in the latest one. Yeah, King Faye, that's what we want. We want Wrexham against City. But honestly, they should go down to the bottom tier of English football in the same way Rangers did in Scottish football and work your way back up. I hate what state ownership has done to football. Hate it with a capital H-A-T-E. There was never anything wrong with foreign investment. Right? That's been happening for a long old time. But being directly owned. Oh, yeah, we're not owned by Abu Dhabi. Hey, tell yourself what you want to tell yourself, lads. They're owned by Abu Dhabi. Newcastle is owned by Saudi Arabia. PSG is owned by Qatar. And it's not being good for football. And if City win that case, boy, that would be bad. I would pretty much the beginning and the end, really. And I don't say that with massive hyperbole. I genuinely think it would be. Sigmund, he's saying, genuine question. What's the chances fans and clubs band together in a class action lawsuit if leagues are wiped, along with TV broadcasters? I mean, that's not going to happen. Some sort of mega lawsuit. Right. Let's move on. I just wanted to have a bit of a rant about that this morning because I think it's outrageous. And surely they won't get away with it. Lance Armstrong did. Well, to a certain point. Garlic Bread Man is saying, I hate it, but this and 115 charges are probably going to end up with a fine and a few points deducted. No, I disagree. They either get away with it or the punishment is serious. I think they're the two scenarios here. Now, let's move on to a talking point that everybody wants to get an answer to, right? Erik ten Hag. I honestly don't know. Can somebody tell me who has been saying that Erik ten Hag's going to get sacked today? Because I can't see it anyway. Nobody that I would trust, that nobody that I would consider reputable. It's just we're all sort of waiting. I know we are waiting. We've been waiting. I think I said this to you before. We're probably about a week behind where we feel the decision should have been made. Because we won the FA Cup last Saturday, not Saturday gone, but Saturday before. So had INEOS taken until Wednesday to do it, everybody would have been like, okay, that's like 3-4 days. That kind of makes sense. So we're roughly about 7 days behind. And people are losing their mind. Losing their mind. Alex, I agree with you down there. I said this the other day. Like, of course, the decision has to be made before the Euros. But people are losing their mind. They see transfers going on elsewhere and they go, what? Where's mine? I don't even, well, the transfer window's not even officially open yet. But saying that, I do want to know. I think I've said this before, and I'm going to run through the video I did yesterday, my sort of dream summer transfer window. I don't think what happens with the manager should be affecting our transfers. Regardless of if Ten Hag is our manager next season, or Tuchel, or De Zerbi, or Potter, or anybody in the world, it doesn't change the players that I think should be leaving my club this summer. It doesn't change the players that I think we should be signing this summer. Because I'm not signing to a manager anymore. I'm signing to a game model. And of course, I don't actually know exactly what that game model is. And in that sense, I'd say it would be slightly fair. But you can certainly get rid of people. And that, if I was going to be annoyed at anything, that would be what I'm annoyed at. And maybe we are. Maybe we are trying to move Casemiro on, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, Donny van der Beek, Hannibal, Pellistri, Lindelof, potentially Maguire. There are a ton. An absolute ton. And I'd say that's probably where, if you're going to be annoyed about anything to do with INEOS, that should be where you go. Now, one player who has been quite heavily linked with the move away from United this summer. I mean, maybe not heavily linked, but the reports aren't seemingly going away around Bruno Fernandes, right? Last night, came off the bench against Arsenal and did what he does. 45 minutes, scored an absolute worldie, that one right into the top corner. Delicious finish. And then scored another one a little bit later on. I don't know, I think Bruno now, this season, is up to 40 goal involvements for club and country combined. I think that's what he's at. This is a midfielder we're talking about. 40 goal involvements. Anyway, the story around Bruno is quite clear what's happening. And I think it's completely understandable. Two things. Fernandes wants to know what's going on with the manager. I'd be surprised if he didn't know behind the scenes. And he wants an improved contract. Bruno's coming to that age. What is he, 29, going on 30? You know full well this is every player at this age, when they're as good as Bruno anyway, I mean, just in general, football players do it. They push for that contract. It's standard practice. It's not unique to Bruno Fernandes. It is part and parcel of football. And this is what is being reported on Bruno. Saying Bruno Fernandes is pushing for a new contract from United that would take him into the top pay bracket with Rashford, Casemiro and Sancho, as the captain waits for clarity regarding the manager and the club's long-term vision before deciding whether to seek a transfer. So this is what's going on with Bruno. And yeah, and you're calling it 2.0, Rooney. Bruno, if anybody at this football club deserves to be the top earner, it's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is easily the most important player at this football club. And he absolutely deserves to be on parity, or I would argue more, than Rashford and Sancho and Casemiro. And this is a consequence of giving out massive contracts to players who ultimately don't continue being central figures at Manchester United. Sancho, dusted, gone this summer. Casemiro, he's going to be leaving this summer. Bruno should be our highest paid player. So I think it's completely fair that he asks. But also, and this is where you come in a devil's advocate situation, right? Is it a risk to give Bruno Fernandes a 5-year contract to make him, let's say, 275 grand a week? It doesn't really matter exactly what the figure is, but let's say making Bruno one of our top 3 earners on a 5-year contract at his age, 29. That should make you go, right, okay, well, now I'm considering. Because that's the only point we have to consider. I think probably the length of the contract is the most important part of this whole conversation. What do you say I don't even know who's in control of contract negotiations anymore. Say you're Jean-Claude Blanc and you're deciding the new contract for Bruno. When does this current deal expire? That'll be an interesting talking point to start with, right? Let's have a look. Bruno Fernandes contract. Transfer marked. I think it might be next. Is it next? He got 2 years left on his contract? So look. Right. So according to transfer marked, let's zoom in on that one there. His contract expires in 2026. So he's got 2 years. Don't fall out, will you? He's got 2 years left on it now. So as it stands, Manchester United are not in a desperate position to extend that contract. Is there a +1 on that? Let me see if I can get up the Bruno signs new Man United contract. So this was in 2022 when he signed this deal. Let's have a look. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so we do have the option for a further year. Right, okay, well the plot thickens. So this was Bruno in 2022, and you can see it there. Man United is delighted to announce he's signed a new contract that will keep him until 2026 with the option to extend by a further year, which basically means we've got a contract with Bruno. We've got a 3-year contract with Bruno already. So we've already got Bruno contracted until he's 32. I think if I was Man United's contract negotiator, I would say, right, let's tear up that contract, which expires in 2026 with the option to a further year. I would then say, right, let's extend that to June 2027 with the option for a further year. So give it an extra year and also give him a pay rise, which I think is reflective of his status at the club. And I would make him one of the top 5 owners. So effectively, you're giving him an increased contract and a pay rise, but it wouldn't be a massive 5-year, like until 2029 with it. If you can add a year onto that deal, maybe 2 years, it depends what you think. A year onto that deal there and give him parity with, I don't know whether it would go north of 300. Because the wages this summer, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but reports suggesting that Man United, you know what I thought about Tosin? I thought it would have been great for his signing. However, it was reported that he wanted, or Chelsea offered around about 140 grand a week for him. And Man United said, no, that's outrageous because we can't afford to have players who are on 140 grand a week as squad members anymore. And that's what Tosin would have been. He may well have proven himself and became a first-team player, but at the point of him being signed, he was a squad player. And that's why we moved away from it, which kind of ties into this conversation that we're having here around about wages. This summer, that's one of the big things. It's already happened, all right? We've saved over $500,000 a week already on Varane leaving and Casemiro. No, Varane leaving and Martial leaving. And if Casemiro leaves, like you're getting towards $1 million a week that we've saved on 3 players. Add Sancho into that, and it's way north of $1 million. And you've not really affected the quality of the squad. Anyway, this Bruno stuff, he deserves it. I'm not surprised to hear it. At the age that he is, 29, going into that last big... He's just got 40 goal contributions. for club and country. And do you know how crap United were this year? He deserves it. However, it comes at a time when Manchester United are really trying to restructure the wage structure. So it's going to be a little bit of a crossroads, but I imagine Manchester United should be able to find a compromise with Bruno because I don't think he'll force his way out. But he wants a bit of a pay rise. Ultimately, he wants a bit of pay rise to reflect his status at the club. If you really think I'm that important, show me. Show me the money. I swear I mentioned Jerry Maguire the other day again as well. Ross is saying he already is one of the top 5 earners. 30 in September, keep him on that. I don't think he is. Man United top earners. I do not think... What have we got? Capology. I think that was the one I used before. Pretty sure Bruno's not in the top 5. Nope. Thought not. Even Mason Mount's above him. Now, take these numbers with a pinch of salt, ladies and gents. Right? Give it like 10% leeway or something like that. Casemiro's top. Varane's there. Rashford's ahead of him. Martial's ahead of him. Mason Mount's a little bit ahead of him. Bruno's there. Martial's gone. Varane's gone. Casemiro's going. Rashford, question marks. So I suppose when they all leave, he will be in the top 3 because, well, 2 of them have already left. But Bruno should be on more than Mason Mount. The fact that we gave Mason Mount $250,000. The fact you give him $250,000 for? Seriously? They would not have taken 250 grand to get Mason Mount to join Manchester United. Seriously? I don't know. Seems a bit weird. Didn't Casemiro just announce his new club on Instagram yesterday? That'll be 10 out of 10 clickbait, that would. Casemiro signed for Marbella. No. He's just joined as a shareholder and a director. Marbella. I've never been Marbella. Would I enjoy it? Probably. I like sun. Just like sun. Anyway, no. He's not gone. He's not joined Marbella, but he's joined as a director. But yeah, this is just... Man, this wage structure needs to get sorted. So to have that conversation at the same time as Bruno wants a new contract is a little bit of a crossroads, but I think United should be able to get through it because Bruno deserves it. And it's not a case of... I always use the Adebayor example. It's not a case of somebody playing for a new contract, they're playing brilliantly, and then all of a sudden they're just going to go, well, I've got a contract now, feet up, done it. Bruno's been playing like this the whole time at Manchester United, and he's so important at this football club. Give him the money that he deserves, whilst also doing what's right for the club. And I'm sure there is a compromise and a middle ground where that exists. I'm sure that can be done. Yeah, I didn't realise. Maybe Chelsea were offering Mason Mount 250 grand a week. That's him on 250k. I suppose Ten Hag expected and wanted him to become a starter for the club, but ultimately, we've got a £60 million squad signing. Do you know how good your squad has to be to reach that point? No. Yeah. Anyway. Let's have a quick look at the international before I move on to talk about INEOS, Ratcliffe, and a few more things. Luke Shaw and Kobbie Mainoo, both in training for England. When do England play? I didn't even watch the game the other night. I'm looking forward to the Euros. Oh, by the way, can I say, I finally remembered. I don't know where the link is. Let me see if I can get it quick. Because doing 2 things here as part of the Euros, right? Community. Here we go. On United People's TV. Numero uno is this, right? Oh, wait there. I can't share this here, actually, because it's members only. Whoops. No, is it members only? Or we open it up to everyone? Have we opened it up to everyone? I think we have. I think I asked to. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Does that work? Why is that such a long ass? Sorry. Trying to do stuff here. There you go. Right. That link there Join the Euro 20. Let me click it myself. Oh, balls. It's all going wrong. It's all going wrong. Yes, I've already joined this league. I thought I had. Right. Here we go. So, fantasy football. Everyone loves a bit of fantasy football. We've got 75 members in here. I've just dropped the link down there. I'm going to throw in some prizes for it. I don't know what it would be. We can choose some shirts. We can choose some... I've got some posters. Joe, you've got loads of posters you can send out to people. We're just going to do a fun little whole community Euros Fantasy League. All right? Free to join. Just click the link. Whoever wins it, you'll win a prize. And also, I'm going to do the same thing we did last time, just for the members only, because this was fun. I'm going to do a members only sweepstake. I think what we did last time is... I need to figure out how we do it. But I think we all chose a name. Everyone put in a tenner. And then I put in 100 quid from United People's TV as well. And then the winner took it all. And I think we had a wooden spoon for whoever went out first. I'm trying to remember the rules. But I think we just did it and we all sent it into the same PayPal account. It worked, though. It really, really worked. So we'll do the sweepstake for members only. And for everybody else who wants to do it, there's a complete league for the whole community, which is completely free to join. And I've just dropped the link there. But yeah, Shaw and Mainu in training. Garnacho's there getting ready. Yeah, I got Brazil. I definitely got accused of that. I did not fix that. I swear on my life I did not fix that. Although it did look like it. Didn't win anyway. Garnacho there in training. Lisandro Martinez with a friend. Probably a friend. And a fan in the background there. I think they'll both go and be part of the Copa America squad. I think so. Hope so. And I do think so. Now, you know what? I'm considering doing my lunchtime video on today. Right? Yesterday, I did it on transfers. I'm going to run through what I sort of put down as my dream summer transfer window. I'm really tempted to just list, because I've seen, and I kind of got angry yesterday when we spoke about it on here. I was like, how does anybody have the energy to call INEOS Glazers V2? But I've seen a lot of people do. And I just think it's crazy. It's outrageous. Funhouse is a whole... Anyone else remember Funhouse? That's a great show. Anyway, show my age, yeah. Damn, I just said that. Fuck, I'm getting old. Anyway. It just annoyed me. So I think what I might do today, I'm just going to do a video that's a list. These are all the things that INEOS have done in the last 3 months that the Glazers didn't do in 20 years. And you're telling me they are Glazers V2 because we haven't signed a player a week after the FA Cup final and we've got a delay with the manager. Nah. You're taking one thing here and putting it completely somewhere else. And that's what I'm going to run through. Pat Sharp. That little go-kart track. Man, I love Funhouse. I think there was another game called Finders Keepers as well. It was like Neil Buchanan. And everyone had to they just hid stuff around his house. He had to go find it. That's why it's called Finders Keepers. Top tier kids TV entertainment back in day. Right. We spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? It's a Knockout was not better than Funhouse. But I did love It's a Knockout. Big up Frank Bruno. Was it Frank Bruno, Keith Chegwin? I think it was. Man, Saturday Night TV used to be the best was Big Break, by the way. Best was always Big Break. Like Jim Davidson's Generation Game. OG Gladiators was good. Noel's House Party was banging. Man, what do you watch on Saturday night anymore? I mean, I don't think anyone does. Anyway. I think everyone's getting involved in the comments here. Trip down memory lane. Yesterday we spoke about this, didn't we? Toby Craig joining Manchester United, a new, communications director? There you go. Director. Sod knows what the actual job title is, right? But it's another change. And also the role itself is kind of being jigged around. Previously, it was Ellie Noonan, I think it was. Ellie Norman, not Noonan. Ellie Norman was here before, and I don't think she was doing a bad job. But the INEOS are bringing in somebody they trust. And now instead of working on a lot of the corporate and the marketing side of things, he's going to be specifically working on like PR and communications just for Manchester United from the football club, which again is a difference. And there was a comment there from Vicky, which I'm going to go back and read. If you're going to do a pro INEOS video, you should not mention the concerns as well. Of course I will. And there are concerns. But not to the point where I'm going to call them Glazers V2. Because by doing that, no, just screw that. I've sat there and watched what the Glazers have done to my club in nearly 20 years. And within 3 months, you're trying to paint them with the same brush. Boy, it's such an unnecessary stretch to try and stain someone. And I think it's outrageous. And I'm going to call it out. This, though, bit of a weird move. You see this yesterday? More from Mike Keegan, saying that Manchester United are set to ban staff from eating at the players' canteen because they feel it might be a distraction for the players. That's a bit of a weird one. I think that's a weird one. Like, how much of a distraction can the members of staff at Carrington be? And remember, Kath is still there. Does that mean Kath's going to be sitting there eating on her own? Not allowed to eat with the players anymore? I don't know. That feels like a little bit too far, because it feels like how much of a difference is that really going to make? And surely that's going to affect the workforce. Yeah, I don't know. That one just seems a little bit excessive for me. As I said, INEOS are not perfect. I mean, it may work. But there's such a massive emphasis on that. I think these are like the 3 driving words at Carrington. Oh, go away. I don't want to share the selection. I just want to highlight it. Come on. There you go. That's what INEOS want. Is it to stop media leaks? A ban for canteen gossip? Do you remember when... Sorry. Did Moyes come in and ban ketchup? I think he tried that. I don't know. I see that one as probably a little bit too far, but I suppose it's if you really want the elite performance environment and you really are completely transfixed on it, then any sort of... I suppose that falls into the marginal gains category, doesn't it? The idea that may... Was it chips he banned? I think Moyes banned chips. Whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know. But I think that one's pretty odd, if you ask me anyway. If I can ask you, ladies and gents, can you please drop a like on the video? I know it's 45 minutes, and I should have probably asked a lot earlier, but it makes a big old difference here. It makes a big, big difference. Now, look, I've already covered this in a video last week. And we know that is that's where Man United are prioritising. Centre-back, central midfield, and a centre-forward. And I'm going to be speaking about Olise. I'm going to be speaking about Sesko in a minute. But I did my video yesterday on what I consider, like, if it happens, I think it'll be a great summer for Manchester United. And this was my conclusion. If you haven't watched the video, well, please go and watch it still. I'll sort of explain each position. But I'll put it down as 6 signings. 2 centre-backs, a left-back, 1 central midfielder, a right winger, and a centre-forward. And these were the names that I put forward for those positions. Olise, we're going to be speaking about next in Chelsea. 2 centre-backs, Luchumi from Bologna and Todibo from Nice. I spoke about Branthwaite at length there. I didn't actually speak about Lenny Yoro at right centre-back, but... I don't know whether United are going to be able to afford that. Kirk is there at left back from Bournemouth. Probably the most expensive signings on that list there are going to be Onana and Olise, both the Premier League ones. And I also ran through all the players that we could sell and the money I think we could get for them, and I did my net spend, right? I started the video by looking at the one last year, and I didn't get any. My dream summer window, I had Kane in there, had Caicedo, Lavia, I had Verbruggen, All these signings and none of them happened. Let's hope that I'm let's hope that I'm slightly better this summer. Let's see. But that's what I went for. And in terms of signings, central midfield, this is yesterday there was a conversation around like a 50 million bid for João Neves, and I'm like, what's the point in that? I think it was coming from a Portuguese newspaper, O Jogo. Fabrizio Romano just reconfirming what we all knew. The release clause is 120 million euros. I imagine Benfica would probably accept 100 if somebody came in, but I think he's just going to be too much. I really think, and I've seen it in plenty of different places, that United have heavily scouted him. But I think we're just not going to be able to afford him. Russell has a good point, actually. I didn't include Alvaro Fernandes in the sales. That's I've already got him down here on this list. But I didn't have him in that one. I'm going to be updating that. I'll be honest, like, I was so excited to start the summer and start the whiteboards. There really isn't much in terms of transfer conversation that we can even be having. I've already got all the players who so far I've seen linked. I'm going to head to Discord after this and I'm going to look through and see if there's any more names I should be updating or changing the colours of. But we're on 67 so far. But as it stands, transfer is not really moving, right? And for a lot of people, that's extremely frustrating because you've got the Euros coming up in 2 weeks. You've got clubs already, well, not even 2 weeks, 9 days now. And it's frustrating, and it is frustrating. I think we had a conversation as a community. We said it would be great if we had 2 signings in before the Euros, which feels extremely unrealistic now, let's be honest. And little conversations here around Sesko and Olise, right? Sesko, we know that the release clause increased the more he contributed to Leipzig. So I think his release clause is not at the start of the summer, halfway through the season, everyone was like, he's only got a 50 million euro release clause. That's going to be a banging cheap transfer. And that's gone up. So I think it's somewhere in the region of 50 to 60 mil now. He's getting a big offer from Saudi clubs. He doesn't want that. He's getting a new contract offer from Leipzig. He doesn't know whether he's going to accept it. He's been linked with United. He's been linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Chelsea. Both of them desperate for like a first-team striker. Man United are desperate for a striker who can complement Rasmus Højlund. I would say Benjamin Sesko, while not being as expensive as João Neves, is going to be in the João Neves category of unlikely. That's just an opinion, right? I think Arsenal will go for Gyökeres. And I thought Chelsea would go after Osimhen. That just stinks of a Chelsea transfer, doesn't it? It really does. Spending as much as you can on the best that's already out there. It just feels like Osimhen's Chelsea's on. But if that doesn't happen, Sesko, I think, would make a lot of sense. And also, I don't think United will be able to keep Sesko and Højlund happy with the game time that they both get in a system where we only have one striker. Just my opinion on him. And in terms of Olise, there's lots and lots of talk around Olise and Chelsea I've seen going around. And it's all coming from whispers from France. It's nothing more than whispers right now, right? It's nothing to lose your marbles about. It's nothing that's really worth a headline right now. But it's a conversation that I suppose should be had because Chelsea tried to sign Olise was it Chelsea? I think it was. Tried to sign Olise last summer when they were signing like seemingly everyone. And they agreed a deal with Palace, but then in a very surprising turn, he signed a new contract and stayed. So therefore, Chelsea have already got links into Olise's agent, links with Crystal Palace. They can rekindle that conversation and increase that price. And they could probably do it quite swiftly. I think people are going overboard with the whole, United are going to lose Olise to Chelsea thing. I mean, we may well do, but truth be told, right, I'm going to go back to this. A centre-back is a bigger priority. A central midfielder is a bigger priority. a centre forward is a bigger priority. I would argue a left back is a bigger priority. That's 4. And I might even argue that 2 centre backs are more of a priority than the right wing for Manchester United this season. I'd honestly put 4, if not 5, signings ahead of a right winger in our priority list this summer. Now, what the best football clubs in the world can do is do these multiple deals at once, and it's not really a problem. It's not really how United work. And Chelsea may well take advantage of that and get in there early. Because they've got the new manager in. They've already got the staff behind the scenes that they need in. They can just focus on everything going forward transfer-wise. United don't have a CEO in. Our new sporting director is currently in an arbitration with Newcastle. And we don't know, I don't even know, it was supposed to be in May. It's the 5th of June. Haven't heard a peep. He's not in. Our CEO's not starting until mid-July. We don't even know who our manager is. All these are mitigating circumstances. This should be the last window where these sorts of frustrations exist. Because by the time January comes around, Barada, Ashworth, Wilcox, whoever the manager is, everybody is in running smoothly. Behind the scenes is sorted, so all focus can go on what's ahead. Currently it can't. Currently it is, well, we're trying our best, I suppose. Brailsford's there. Jean-Claude Blanc's in as an interim CEO. You've got Jason Wilcox as well. I'm not saying that we don't have people who can do it, but we don't have the people. And we don't even know really what's going on with the manager either. So there's a lot of moving parts that aren't moving for other clubs. Hence, part of these delays. But people don't want to see that. They just want immediacy. However, I understand the frustrations around the Erik ten Hag. I think the frustrations around the lack of signings right now is like hold your horses. But I can understand the frustrations around Erik ten Hag, right? It's not United without chaos, says James. Well, can't disagree with that. Going to go down and read some of your comments here. Let's go to Facebook. What's going on with Sancho, says Macaulay. Nothing as far as I know. Hopefully Man United find a club for him. I don't personally think that Dortmund will pay what we want them to pay. And I also don't think he'll go to... I don't think he'll go to Saudi Arabia. So I don't actually know what's going to go on with that. I'll be totally honest. Why is that not working or moving? I can't move the chat. That's strange. What else are you saying down there? When is Dan Ashworth coming in? How long's a piece of string? Right. I'd love to have an answer to that. But the arbitration was supposed to happen in May, and it's the 5th of June, and not one journalist has leaked any sort of information on it. So presumably it's still going on. And presumably it's all being kept behind closed doors because it is an open case and an open arbitration case. And I don't think we'll know anything until it's finished. Loan Sancho to Barca. I don't want to loan Sancho anywhere. I don't want to loan Greenwood anywhere. I don't want to loan Casemiro anywhere. I want our club to sell to get the money in. Let's move. Let's go. Stop kicking the can down the road with loans, which is exactly what the Greenwood situation was. But also, I don't think we would have got much for Greenwood had we tried to sell him last summer after everything that happened. I'm going to wrap that up. All right. I quite enjoyed that show. It is hot as hell in here. I need to get a fan in this room ASAP, Rocky. Lunchtime video today. It might be on what I said. It might not be. I'll decide. I did watch the latest episode of the Stick to Football. Man, Roy Keane is funny. Roy Keane is funny. He's a dude. I like him. I just like the whole setup. It kind of gives you a glimpse into what like really top-level dressing rooms could have been like, which is cool. That's the vibe I get from Stick to Football. That's why it's so good. But look, thank you all for tuning in. I've really, really enjoyed the show. Thank you for the chat. I'm looking forward, mate, when this... Come on. If City win that, I don't know where football's going next, but it won't be a good place. All right? Thanks, everybody. Please drop a like on the video. I'll be here tomorrow morning, as always, or maybe if there's some big breaking news, I'll be back later today. Take it easy.